We're so very happy to be here today on this Monday, share with you on this Facebook Live talking about one of my other books, The 13 Commandments of Rory T. Edwards. Let me show it to you right here. The 13 Commandments of Rory T. Edwards. You can get that book on my website, www.rorytedwards.com. I promise not to take a long time today and take up your lunch break, but I feel that it's very valuable that I come on today to share with you some of my thoughts in reference to why this book, The 13 Commandments of Rory T. Edwards, is so valuable to your cipher, your mental resiliency, mental stability in our future, in our present day and time, and also our future, the way things are going. And so, what brings me to this point? There's a few things that bring me to this point. It's so many things are happening in this particular world that it's so very difficult for people to stay balanced, for people to understand how they deflect the negative contributions, the negative influences, all of the negative energy that is in the air. And we have to make sure that people have a tool. The 13 Commandments of Rory T. Edwards will be that tool that can help you deflect all of that negative energy that is entering into your cipher and changing the thoughts that you have. Now, why do I believe that this book has that ability? Because this book is not written from the normal form of which we operate on a daily basis. Most of us believe we operate within the atmosphere of the earth, when in reality, most of our energy and most of our promises and most of our most disappointing actions and reactions come from the universe. Now, some of you may say, well, why do I believe what you say? Well, who are you listening to then? If you're not going to believe what I say, tell me who you're listening to, and then you tell me uh, how that work out for you. How's it working out for you? If your current situation is one that is not desired, then you have to start making some drastic change. They say that the only way you will get action is through a reaction of massive reaction, and that's how you get to move and catapult yourself to a higher level. Now, why do I say that? There's two stories I want to share with you on what type of situations we're in. But first, let me say, we know, we go to the gas pumps, we see that the gas is increasing. We go on the TV, we see that there are so many negative stories that are attached to our daily and local ingestion of the information that we're receiving. We go to the grocery store and there's not food on the shelves, or the price of bread is going up 3 times as much. All of the things that we used to take for granted are now very much increased. And so I'm going to start with the first story on how we are so inundated with this political situation. You know, people have been voting, early voting, people are getting out to vote tomorrow, but we really got to look at how many changes have the people who we put in office prior to this really made to benefit the masses. How many changes have they made? How many people, you're telling people to get out and vote, and how many of you are holding those people responsible for the promises that they make? And why I say that is because I went and voted early. So thank you for not calling me anymore, but they still send me text messages and call me, and I tell them I voted. And they ask me who I voted for. I told them the thing is that you should be glad that I voted. Don't worry about who I voted for. Be glad that I voted. But anyway, I went to the voting polls, and they don't allow people now to sort of congregate around the voting polls and ask you questions or give you paraphernalia that will support a certain candidate or a certain party. But they do, people do congregate, a little distance away. And as I was going to the grocery store, there was a man out there who says, "Do you mind if I talk to you about the voting process?" And I said, "I usually don't discuss it, but something in my spirit, told me to engage in this conversation." And so I told him, I said, "I have a few minutes, sir, and that's all I'm going to do." He started off by saying, "Do you realize that if you vote for the Democrats, the reason we're in this situation is because of them?" And I said, "What situation might that be, sir?" He says, "That you're not able to go in this grocery store and buy any food." I said, "Well, if you step in the store with me and look at all those people in there, and they seem to have baskets full of something, and they seem to have carriage is full of something. There must be some food in there. I guess you haven't been in there in a little while to see that they must have restocked it with food. So first and foremost, that situation right there is not accurate. He said, well, what about the gas prices? What do you think? You think the Biden administration is responsible for the gas prices? I said, well, with all of these cars in the parking lot, then either they all ran out of gas right here. They've been sitting here for this amount of time, or people are making adjustments to be able to get gas, and they're just going with the flow. I said, well, tell me something positive, Serge. Tell me one thing positive before I walk away. And he was saying, I don't want to make this about color and race, but where in America, when in any time in America, and I'm going to say this twice, he said, when in any time in America, if blacks do not vote for the Republicans, can they say that black people have never been treated in America worse than they're treated right now? So I know some of you didn't hear that, but he said, where in America, if you don't vote Republican, where can black people say at any time in this country that they've been treated worse than they're being treated right now under the Biden administration? Now, I'm going to leave that right there. I'm going to let you ponder on that. I'm going to let you ponder on that because that's the thinking that we have out here with people who believe that there's a certain party that's going to do more for individuals. And so this puts people in a position, what I'm talking about, that the 13 commandments is going to help you have balance in your life. And it's going to make you make changes in your life that you deflect stuff like that. Now, if anybody knows me a few years ago, he would have got the business on that. I told him, I said, sir, I respect the fact that you are living in a world of ignorance. And I am going to go in here and hopefully get some of these groceries that you say that the current administration is taking away from us. So you have a good day. And I walked away. So that's what this book has done for me. And writing this book has given me the ability to walk away from ignorance. It's given me the ability to not engage in negative conversations because all I'm doing is demoting myself to that level of their thinking. So this is what I'm trying to share with you, that you go to the www.rorytedwards.com. You look at my shop, in my store, and you'll see the 13 Commandments book. It's a quick read. It's a really quick read, and it'll really help you. It gives you an opportunity to journal so that you can then reflect on a thought that you had when you read that chapter this day, and you can go back and read another chapter on another day. Second story I want to share with you, how people are really so caught up in, so many people have been inundated with negative thoughts that they just believe that they're able to say them anytime and anywhere. So recently I was on a plane, and there was a group of young kids who were traveling to Houston to the NASA Space Center. And the teacher told the stewardess, or the flight attendant, that this was 90% of the children's first time on the plane. And she asked, could the children, they put together a song that they wanted to sing when they took off. And they said it was more for the fact that they were comforting each other as they took off. And they said that they hoped that it wouldn't disturb anybody. And this flight attendant told them that she thought it would be very entertaining for the rest of the passengers. And so all of these kids were in the back of the plane. Nobody was being bothered in first class or comfort or anything of that nature. And so if you really believe in the future, that our kids are the future, then you support whatever our children are trying to do, unless it has a negative attachment to your agenda. But if it doesn't have any attachment to your agenda, you should support it. That's what's wrong with people. They believe that their agenda is the most important and nobody can disturb their groove, right? But it's not disturbing your groove. It may be enhancing your groove. But anyway, let me get back to my story. And so as the plane was getting ready to take off, these young kids started to sing. And there was a man who was in first class, maybe 75 seats away from them, who wanted to get up, and he was screaming at the top of his lungs about, shut up, it's disturbing my peaceful time right now. I get on a plane to be at peace. I don't get on a plane to be disturbed by some ignorant children. And it sort of gave some other people life to engage in this conversation also. So a few of the people said, why don't you just shut up and sit down and enjoy the ride and celebrate the children, instead of worrying about that they're comforting themselves in this situation versus you being ignorant about the mere fact that children were singing a song that comforted them in their first time ever engaging in an aircraft ride. And so I tell you these two stories just to say that we really are in a place in time right now where we're at the crossroads. We're at the crossroads. And the only way we're going to combat this stuff is that we have to uh, combat negative conversations, negative influences, negative dialogue, anything that has negative attached to it. If a person comes up to you, I want you to just check this out. I want you to take a day and just journal in your mind how many people come up to you and have a conversation or try to have a conversation with you that's negative versus how many people come up with you and talk about a positive interaction they had or an initiative that was a positive influence in their day. I guarantee you that the negative conversations will outweigh the positive ones by 2 to 1. I guarantee you. And so that's why I'm really pushing this book, The 13 Commandments of Rory T. Edwards. Go to www.rorytedwards. You can pick that book up. rorytedwards.com, excuse me. And you can pick that book up. But I want to share with you what these chapters are about. And so you may see and get an understanding of what it is. The first chapter is know truly who you are and where you are in life, not where you think you should be in life. That's chapter 1. Number 2 is what is your why? Chapter 3, welcome your purpose. Nothing moving goes cliche. Nothing moving goes cliche. Number 4, are you a realist, the dreamer, or the procrastinator? Number 5, eliminate the gray areas in your life. Ask big. Number 6, are you traveling through life in coach, comfort, or first class? Number 7, learn something new and explore something new every day and apply it to your journey. Number 8, the 20 plus 20 equals the final 40 years of your life outcome. Number 9, is your life constantly under construction or are you headed for self-destruction? Your circle of friends determine your place on the dais. Number 10, speak from the heart. It's the one endorsement which will never lie to you. Number 11, how bad do you want success? What's your price? Sometimes the price of freedom is demise, deceit, or death. Number 12, leave your ego behind. And 13, who do you serve? Money, power, or respect? Those are the chapters of the book. But what I want to share with you before we go, and I said I wouldn't be long. I'm going to try to stay on the 15 minutes today, and I'm really close to doing that. But I wanted to share with you something that was shared with me about 30 years ago from my cousin Pam Morrison's husband, Keats. Keats gets the credit for this right here. Keats shared with me one day. He said, Brother Rory, have you ever heard of the two wolves story? And I said, I sure didn't. So he tells me, and this is an old Cherokee is reading to his grandson about life. A fight is going on inside of us all every day, he said to the boy. It's a terrible fight, and it's between two wolves. One is evil. He or she is anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego. He continues, the other is good. He or she is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. The same fight is going on inside you and inside every other person in the world. The grandson thought about it for a minute and then asked his grandfather, Grandfather, which wolf wins? The old grandfather simply replied, the one you feed. That's the forward of my book. We're talking about today the wolf that will dominate your everyday, your existence in your life is the one you feed. The 13 Commandments of Rory T. Edwards can get you a blueprint to give you an idea of which wolf you feed every day. And we just want to say that that's where we are today. Uh, this one was a little passionate because I think we're in a place where we need to really make some changes. And I was watching 60 Minutes last night and they talked about that the negative messages on social media are a great indicator of where we are as a world. And they said, if you put up something negative, if I was sitting up here talking about some negative stuff about degrading women, about the abortion and negative things in our communities, I would get 5,000 views. If I get 200 views, I'm still satisfied because that means 200 people found this message valuable. If I get 500 views, it's still going to be satisfying. If I get one view, it's still going to be satisfying because that one person believed that what I had to share was valuable. And what's that mean? I'm at the 15-minute mark, but I really want you to say, I want to say thank you for giving me this opportunity. I want to say stay tuned for more of these informational sessions coming because I believe that we have to put our positive voices into the universe to combat the negative energy that is also being placed in the universe. And if you don't believe it, just um, get a book, journal about your negative interactions versus your positive interactions, and you'll see that the things that you really ask for of the universe, and you don't take things personal, that they'll come to fruition much quicker than the negative interactions and influences and all of the things that you do bring into your life that have negative consequences. All right. So until we talk again, or until uh, we engage in some type of personal conversation, I want to wish you well. I want to wish you safe travels in anything that you're doing. And if I don't speak to you before your holidays, please have a safe and blessed holiday. And remember that family is first and foremost the most important aspect and influence in your life. All right. So until we talk, you be well, and may the Creator continue to bless you and to bless your thoughts. Ashe.